All right, we are live. Hello and welcome,
Hello.
everybody. My name is Wade Bradford, and welcome to my YouTube channel and also my Facebook page. This is where I sometimes talk with famous authors, well-published, esteemed, award-winning authors, such as my good friend Karol Ruth Silverstein. How are you doing, Karol?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm very grateful for the invite, and I am chagrined to be thought of as a famous author, but I am in fact an award-winning author. So.
That's right. That's right. And the award. And so we'll start plugging your book right now. So this is your debut novel. Is that correct?
It is.
Your first novel. So congratulations. And it is called Cursed. And it has basically stickers. We authors. What's your cat's name?
This is Ninja. Ninja, want to say hi?
Hi, Ninja.
Choose to be in frame or out of frame. She's going to do whatever she wants because she's a cat.
Right. Well, this is good because it's foreshadowing, because we're going to be talking about Karol's work and this book, but we're also going to do some very silly things later on in this interview. And one of those silly things is we're going to be talking about cat behavior.
Yes.
Anyway, so this sticker. So tell us about this sticker, Karol. This is the Schneider Family Book Award. So congratulations on winning this.
Thank you. It was sort of a dream come true to win that award. It is one of the American Library Association's yearly awards. It is given for the artistic expression of the disability experience in children's books. So there's a picture book category, a young readers, and a teen category. And my book won the teen category, and that was for 2020. But we just had the awards ceremony last month because of the pandemic. We were supposed to do it in June in 2020 in Chicago. Obviously, that didn't happen, but it was really an award I've been dreaming of winning since the award's inception, because it's, sort of for my people and about my people. And that was really an honor.
Yes. So So again, congratulations. I thought when this showed up at my doorstep, I thought that it was a sticker, but it's not. It's like actually part of the cover. So that's
because you got the reprint. I have one with a sticker, but
you had one with a sticker. Now, you earned the award in 2020. So was this before the pandemic? Did you get to be at an award ceremony?
I did not. They announced it in late January of 2020. For books published in 2019. And I had all these things, scheduled for the rest of the year. I did get to go to Nashville to be a part of the Public Library Association conference. I was in a panel there. And that was the last thing I did. I went on it was like the 28th and 29th of February. It was a leap year. Came home, and a week later, everything shut down. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, I did not get to celebrate it until last month. And we did that virtually as well.
Well, I'm glad it was at least celebrated virtually.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of myself because I finished reading this book last night. Because I got it about a week ago, and I started reading it right away when I got it, but then I was overwhelmed grading papers because that's my day job. And so I had 2 days to read it. It's like, oh no, I'm not going to finish reading it. But it's a very engaging book. So I really loved reading this book. And I hate to do this kind of question for you, but as an author, I don't like it when people say like, hey, explain what your book's about. But maybe instead of saying, hey, tell me what your book's about or tell me the plot of the book, maybe tell us what this book means to you. Why did you make this book? What does this book mean to you?
Well, it's drawn from my experiences of getting sick with the same diagnosis as my main character when I was 13, which was really, really sucked hard and was really difficult. And a mentor suggested that I write about that, and I was sort of a little reluctant. I also kind of wasn't sure how to get into it. And my experience was that I did not handle things gracefully at all. And I knew that there were other kids handling whatever big problems they were handling that maybe didn't have all that grace and acceptance. And, they weren't inspiration. It wasn't a smooth transition. So I decided if I was going to write about it, it was going to be something authentic to my experience, messiness and all. And I thought that was important, that, kids see some representation. It's like sometimes you handle things badly and it's okay. It was sort of like a permission slip. And I've had readers with disabilities and chronic illnesses say specifically, I love that she was allowed to be angry. So I wanted a representation of chronic pain that I'd never really seen in children's books, what it's like to live with chronic pain every moment of every day. And that's why I love that it's first person present tense, because it really puts you into her skin. And I hadn't seen that. Now it might be out there. I just hadn't seen it personally myself. Ninja, really? This is part of life with me. Yes. Now I'm going to have black hair on me.
Quick question. Do you think it's easier for writers to have cats or dogs as pets?
I don't know. I think writing and cats kind of go hand in hand. I do know a lot of writer friends who have dogs. I just, I'm a cat person. I'm going to go cat all the way.
Does Ninja and your other cat, do they jump up on the keyboard when you're trying to write something brilliant?
They do.
They do.
And they pester me when they think I've been at the computer for too long. Okay. Mostly because they want something to eat, or they want my attention.
Okay, cool. Well, Karol, can you tell me a little more? I'm interested in your writer's journey in general. And you sent me this. I've got, pardon me while I go through things. You sent me this just a little while ago. So this is a tweet that you sent out.
Yeah. So I will tell you that I started out wanting to be a screenwriter and trained for that, had, tiny little bits of success, just enough to keep me hungry. And then I tended to write about kids. And somebody suggested, why don't you turn that screenplay into a children's novel? And so I sort of explored the world of children's book writing and was reminded of how much I loved books as a kid and what a voracious reader I was. I found and joined the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators that I know you're very familiar with, and became very involved in that organization and started learning the craft and business of writing for kids. And I was really amazed at some of the newer stuff that was being published. This was back like late 90s, early 2000s. I was like, wow, this stuff is amazing. Like I mentioned previously when I was talking with my editor, M.T. Anderson's Feed was one of those books where it just blew my mind. It's very different than anything I would write, but I was like, wow, I want to be a part of this. So I started on that journey and I volunteered for the local chapter of the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators for many, many years. And one of the things I was doing early on was I was a co-coordinator of their monthly meetings, which were called schmoozes back then. Now they're called lit mingles, but we have them in various neighborhoods all over Los Angeles. And I was a co-coordinator of the biggest and longest running one. And we had a schmooze coming up. The topic was social media for writers and how you can use social media to help your career, your writing, whatever. And I had a Twitter handle that was very underutilized because it was very confusing and overwhelming to me. But I decided in preparation for that, I'm going to go on Twitter and do some Twitter stuff. And so I sent some tweets and I retweeted and I followed some hashtags and I stumbled onto this Twitter pitch event. This one was Pit Mad. There are others. It's usually like a set time frame, like an hour or a couple hours, and you can send out pitches for your projects, and literary agents are following the hashtag. And if a literary agent likes your pitch, it means that agent wants to read your manuscript. So I stumbled into like the last 10 minutes. I got out a couple of tweets and I got one like from my literary agent, Jen Lenan. We talked.
And that's this here?
Yeah, you see, one like. That was all I needed.
Oh my gosh. Just one like, and that was from the person who became your agent.
That is the person. And so that was for a picture book. She talked to me about my other projects. I sent her like the first 60 pages of Cursed, and she was like, oh my God, we have to sell this book. This is so important. And so I had to finish it and make it decent beforehand. So it took a little while, but my getting published was a direct result of the volunteer work I did. Not like, oh, I put myself in the right place or I learned stuff. It was an actual direct result of my volunteer work. So that makes me very interested in doing service and volunteering, because it really can have benefits that you don't know. The sky's the limit. And that is, I want to say, results may vary and not typical, but that is how I signed with my agent. And she stuck to it. Curse was not an easy book to sell, but she stuck to it until we got an offer from Charles Bridge Teen, and I landed in with such a nice publishing company and with a terrific editor who really got the book. And it's a real fairy tale ending for me. And then I won the Schneider Family Book Award. So,
yay.
Pretty dream come true-ish.
So this talking about so our main character is Ricky, right? Her AKA Erica, but she likes to go by Ricky, and I love the character of Ricky, right? So she's 14, she turns 15 before the end of the book, and the book's called Cursed for a couple reasons, right? Because she uses a lot of curse words.
She does.
So I'd love to know if that was that an obstacle that you needed to overcome to get published, because there are some F-bombs that are sprinkled throughout the book.
I think there are actually 47 F-bombs. I think I counted them. And oddly, it was like there are the same number of F-bombs as people I thank in the acknowledgements, which I thought that was not by design. That just happened.
Oh, wow. That's neat.
And I think the draft that we sold had like 147. So we always, my agent and I had that conversation of, what if we get interest, but they say, you need to take out the cursing. Mm-hmm. And we sort of were hoping we didn't have to go that route. And it's because the cursing is really an integral part of the story itself. It has, a double meaning, the title, she feels cursed and she's so angry that's how it comes out. And through the course of the book, she sort of learns more about the impact that her words have, and she learns to sort of choose her moments more carefully, and how there are some places that are appropriate and some places not so much. And I think it's a good thing. I've learned that myself. I grew up in a family of cursers, and my sister is an actual sailor, now retired, and she curses like a sailor. And we've cursed, but I've learned as a grown-up sort of, that there are appropriate places, and that not everybody has the same sensibilities when it comes to particularly the F-bomb that I do. And so if I'm going to drop an F-bomb on somebody, it might be really, really hurtful to them in a way that it wouldn't be to me. So I've learned, just, err on the side of caution. Like don't intentionally offend people if you can possibly refrain from that. So it's a good lesson. And we did age the character up from 13 to 14. That was one thing that my editor, Monica Perez, and Charles Ridge Teen asked us to do. And we were fine with that. It puts it more squarely in YA. Mm-hmm. And then as we were going through in the editorial letter, we sort of did where we reserved the F-bombs for those moments, those choice moments, when she really wanted to say that, and change some of the others to a lesser curse. Or, we sort of thought that fewer would have actually more impact than every other, sentence. Gotcha. So we did have some resistance, but it was an issue for some, I'm sure, for some of the editors who passed. So.
Yeah, it doesn't, thinking about the storyline, you need the profanity, because there's the character that is first is an antagonist and then becomes a mentor, the speech teacher, Mr. Jenkins, right? He needs to have that moment where Ricky like cusses him out.
Yeah.
And it can't be gosh darn it, right? It needs to be the real thing. So my next question is, and by the way, if you're watching us, we're accepting any questions. So if you are on Facebook or YouTube, please leave a question in the comments, and I will try to pass them along to Karol. But my next question is since a lot of this is at least inspired by your own experiences as a 13 and a 14 and a 15-year-old. Um, but the book takes place, it's a modern day book. So were there challenges, were there difficulties in writing about children and teens today, inspired by your past experience in your middle school, and then you're transplanting it to today's children? So what were the challenges there writing for today's youth?
Well, I did have some authenticity reads of, kids now who have the diagnosis, and I had a pediatric rheumatologist read it over. There's a lot of modern technology and stuff in it that obviously wasn't the case when I was younger. And there's also a new class of medications for juvenile arthritis that really make a tremendous impact. And that enabled me to have, it's a very realistic ending. There's no miracle cures or anything like that, but it's a little more hopeful than my story, because there is this new class of medications that is really making a huge difference long term in people that are diagnosed now, whether they're kids or adults. So I did my best. There might be some reviewers that didn't care for my book that are like, this doesn't sound like a realistic kid. Like, I think somebody said, the texting doesn't sound like kids. And I'm like, I don't know. I text with like colons and semicolons. Yeah. Like, I am so literal in my tests. I did my best. But I did run it by.
I was convinced. Of course, I'm not a teenager anymore. But I think the proof is really going to be in the pudding of what younger readers think. And I don't care what a grown up reviewer thinks. I want to know what the teens. But I have a feeling that a lot of teens would really connect with this. It looks like we've got a couple comments. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. Okay, here's a good question from one of my students, getting extra credit for asking this question. Good job, Nona. You've written this book to help teens accept things that happen to them. What helped you accept your situation when you were younger?
That's a good question. Thank you, Nona. I kind of didn't accept it when I was younger. It took me like so many years, as an adult. I think one of the things that helped me accept when I was younger, I didn't really identify as disabled. I had this chronic illness. I was in terrible pain, and I could have qualified. But I sort of crossed that threshold when I was 21 and having my first joint replacement surgery. And while it may seem like this negative thing, like, oh God, now I'm disabled, it was very empowering in a way. And it was sort of like, well, this is what it is. I'm going to pull myself up on my bootstraps and get busy creating a life that I love, that inspires me. So that helped me. One of the beautiful things about YA books, and I'm again sort of quoting one of my favorite authors, Sonia Sones. She said at some point in some talk that I was listening to, that one of the things you can do in YA is you can have your characters either not make mistakes you made, or make them and see the error of their ways, quicker, or clean them up a little nicer or a little sooner. So in a way, Ricky I sort of jammed all of the acceptance and things that I learned over 3 decades into Ricky's, half a year. I tried to be as real as possible, but it's tough. I mean, I think that interestingly, right now we've been going through this time, which has been extraordinarily challenging for everyone, but for young people as well. Like, their whole new normal is completely changed from the pandemic and everything. And Ricky is really experiencing a new normal and having to somehow find some grace in that. And she does a little bit by the end of the book. And I think it's probably relatable to kids who are reading it or read it last year, that there's this whole complete new normal you had no say in. Nobody asked your permission. And it kind of sucks, and you wish it weren't happening, but there's nothing you can do to change it. So it's sort of universal in that way.
Yeah, that's one of the things I loved about it, is because there was so many. I think there's so many ways a person can read this book and connect to it, even if they don't have, arthritis the way our main character does. That
Yeah.
she's we all face different kinds of obstacles,
Yeah.
and so that's why I thought the book was very, very positive and hopeful, considering we've got like the frowny face
circle,
here.
yeah.
It's
Well,
it's a
the other
very
thing is that at that age, especially when she was 13, but even at 14 as well, almost everyone's body is changing at that point. And a lot of the changes are positive, but they can be kind of a little overwhelming, and they can take some getting used to. So I thought in that way, it was somewhat relatable universally as well.
good. Well, speaking of new normal, and you said I could ask this question, and I didn't think about doing this until just now. I've added he, him pronouns because I'm not, to be honest, I'm not like used to doing that. So when I teach class virtually, I really should be doing this, but I go with the assumption of like, of course I look male, don't I? And that's, an assumption that I don't want. I want students to feel welcome to identify as he, she, they, or whatever they want to identify as. And so you said I could ask this because on next to your name you have she/her and you have disabled. So why?
I'm trying this out. I'm a grammar cop, and I was raised by an English teacher, so I'm struggling to embrace the singular they, but I'm doing it, and I'm doing it because it's meaningful to people who identify that way. And we use our pronouns to say, hey, heads up, this is how I identify. When you're referring to me, these are the words that I prefer you use. And there's a lot of conversation. Most people in the disability community want to use the word disabled, but well-intentioned able-bodied people want to call us, differently abled and physically challenged, a person with a disability.
Yeah.
So, and everybody's different. And so people that don't know me are like, well, what is she? How should I? What was the, what's
that's a Hamilton lyric.
That's a Hamilton quote. Yay!
But you know what? Maybe it applies.
Yeah. So I'm trying it out as like a, hey, heads up, when you're referring to me, this is the word that I use. And people can make all their conversations about political correctness, or really it's this thing. And I just like, you know what? I am happy to refer to anybody in whatever way that person prefers. I don't get mad at people if they don't use the correct word if I haven't, told them. And so I don't think it's good to jump down somebody's throat if they don't magically can't read your mind and figure out that you identify, as a male or as transgender. But I think that there is value in just acknowledging how people see themselves. So trying that out, but thank you for asking.
Good. Yes. Cool. And looks like we have another comment. Karina says, what is the best way to analyze poetry or just any literary work? Again, full disclosure, this is from one of my students who's probably busy working on an essay. Is there or are there any tips you can give us?
Wow. Best way to analyze poetry. Now, I am not, I like poetry, and I know a good poem when I see it according to how I react to it. And I did do script coverage for a while professionally, freelance. And I used to sort of break it down into kind of overall notes and then character, theme, plot, etc., dialogue. But I don't know. I feel like if I'm reading something and it's just not grabbing me, and I'm just not in it, it hasn't, I don't feel safe in the author's hands, and I'm just along for the ride. Every other thing annoys me. Whereas if I am digging this and just reading it and I'm in it, there could be all kinds of little problems that I otherwise might have annoyed me or taken me out of the read, that I forgive because I'm just so engrossed. So it doesn't really help for writing English papers, which I did do as an English major. But I always find, like, if someone's asked me to read something and give them an evaluation, particularly if they're paying me, if I'm reading it and it's just not working for me and every other sentence is something that I have issue with, I have been known to actually contact the person and give them their money back and say, I'm not the right person to help you with this. That's different if you're a student versus like a professional reader, but the goal is always to help the writer achieve what they're trying to tell, the story they're trying to tell, help them to get to their goal. And if I don't buy into the story, I'm not the right person to help them tell that story. I guess, if you're writing a paper, you just go with what really works for you. And the things that bring you out of the read, you can try to analyze, well, this confused me, or this rubbed me the wrong way. Well, why is that? And try to write about that.
And answering that question, why is that, is a good thing to do as a literary, student or scholar, right?
Yeah.
Figure out what works and what doesn't and why.
Yeah. And why are you, if you're brought out of the read, what brought you out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Well, so back to your writing style, do you consider yourself a plotter or a pantser?
Funny that you should ask that, because I am like a total plotter, man. Give me a treatment, outline, beat sheet. I love plotting. However, with Cursed, I just wrote whatever came into my mind, and I wrote it out of sequence, which is bananas. I've never written anything like that. No outline, I just had an idea that it was going to be the second half of the school year and that it would end with the graduation that she may or may not participate in. And that's all I had to go on. It was just such a raw, personal story that this was just how I wrote it. And it took me forever. And I'm like, I'm never doing that again. But I have been working on a middle grade novel that I am writing out of sequence, but I have a treatment and I know where it's going. So, but I am normally a plotzer, but I don't know.
Cool. And how's the new book going?
Slowly, but I'm enjoying it. I think it's going to be really fun. It's a younger skewing middle grade with an anthropomorphic cat lead.
Oh, yeah.
Well, my joke is like, not everything I write has cats in it, just most things. A lot of my picture books are focused on cats.
Nice.
They're very inspiring. Yes, it's called Freya the Mighty, and it's about a Norwegian forest cat kitten born into a family of show cats and sort of expected to carry on the legacy of the family and be a pampered show cat. And she wants adventure and a more meaningful life.
I love
a little more than she bargained for, but it all works out in the end.
Oh, that sounds great. Freya the Mighty?
Freya the Mighty.
Oh, I can't wait for that. I think I have the question I really wanted to ask you, but I think you in part maybe answered it or hinted at this. So with Cursed, our main character Ricky, some of the events in her life are told with flashback, and some are sort of the real time events. So when we put everything together, and I don't want to give too much away, but we know that there's issues like divorced parents, a diagnosis of her disease that's going to be causing chronic pain with no foreseeable end in sight. At least that's what she's fearing. And then she's switching schools. But the story doesn't begin with any of those things. You have the story begin where she has been skipping school for 6 weeks. And when she just waves goodbye to her dad, who goes off to work as a dentist. And then she's like, all right, now I've got the apartment to myself. I'm going to take a bath and just try to relax and not deal with school. So she does that for 6 weeks. So in a lot of ways, it's starting with her at kind of very, very low points. And then we see her ascend throughout the course of the book. So I thought that was a very good place to start. And I know that if I have any creative writing students out there, that a huge challenge is trying to figure out where your story or book begins. So how did you decide to begin the story there?
Well, and I will say before I answer that question that the book is fiction. There are a few, things sort of drawn from my life, and the setup, I did that. I got sent to my dad's because it was supposed to be easier and he was going to handle things. And he left for work before I had to leave for school. And I pretended to be getting ready for school. And I went back to bed when he left, and I skipped 6 weeks of school. So that actually happened. The thing that sort of opened the floodgates for me with this project, because I had a mentor, Holly Goldberg Sloan, who sort of suggested, hey, that's a really interesting thing that you got sick when you were young, and maybe you should write about that. Wasn't sure how to get into it. I did a writing exercise in a small writing workshop. And the prompt was pick an age and free write as yourself at that age. And I picked 13, and out came all this angry spewing. And I sent you, that was the actual notebook and writing exercise. And I just drew from that. And that was sort of one of those mornings where Dad had left and I was home, and I was so angry at him, and I was angry at the world, and I was in pain, and I was so tired, and I just wanted to, eat some sweet food and watch TV and want the world to go away. And that was just sort of how I got into the character. So I don't know. I thought that was a good, in screenwriting, we talk about an inciting incident. So we start with this. This is her setup. In screenwriting, you do a character with a problem and something she wants and obstacles in the way. So we meet Ricky when she has been skipping 6 weeks of school. She has to go see the doctor, and she slips up and mentions the doctor's like, where are your wrist braces? And she says, oh, I left them in my locker. And then so her mom tells her dad, and her dad's like, great, you'll have them tomorrow. So she's kind of got to go back to school to get the wrist braces. And so that's the inciting incidents. Like, she has to make an appearance at school, and then things go terribly wrong. I don't know. I with Cursed, I don't know why I did anything. It just, that's where I started. Now I do have the bookends. I have a little, 1.5-page introductory chapter where she's sort of saying, here's my deal. That's another rule I broke, because you're not supposed to have your character directly address the
I'm going to explain everything very quickly.
Yeah, and say, here it is. But she's clearly an unreliable narrator. So in that little opening bit, it's not just what she's choosing to tell you, but how she chooses to tell you. And I think readers get a sense, this is her take on things, and I don't know how much of this I should believe 100%. So
yeah. Cool. Well, now we're going to move on to, and if you still have questions out there, please send the questions in. We are going to play my favorite fun game, your very own game show. So I have asked Karol, I have asked her for 3 different topics, and they didn't have to deal with writing or anything. 3 topics that if she were on a game show, what would she want to be questioned about? And the first topic is about cat behavior. Look at that cat.
Oh,
those cats, right?
I'm a closet game show fan as well.
I like game shows too. Yeah, that's why we like doing these things.
Yeah.
So the first game show is about cat behavior, and here's what we're going to do. With the help of my daughter, Mackenzie, she did a deep dive into cat behavior last night, and so we've come up with cat behavior true or false prompts. So I'm going to give you a statement, and you have to tell us if, according to the internet, it is true or if it is false.
Okay.
All right. You have 2 cats, and Ninja is the one cat, and what's the white cat?
Boo is the white cat. Yes.
Ninja
and they're like, can they help me? Can I phone a cat?
Sure. Yes. Yeah. You feel free.
They're off.
Ask them if it's true. All right. Here's the first one. Cats, like dogs, twitch their tails back and forth to express happiness.
Depends on the twitch, because there is I'm irritated, you best not bug me twitch. And then there is the nice, gentle, oh, you're home, I'm so happy to see you twitch.
Okay.
With food.
Let's go with the one that looks more like this. That first one.
I would say the first one, you mean? No, the first twitch is I'm warning. I'm warning you.
All right, so that is false, right? That at least with most cats, according to what we read on the internet. What about this one? This is more internet culture. Cucumbers are poisonous to cats.
I know there was that little viral thing where people were scaring their cats with cucumbers, which I was just like, why? Why would you do that to your poor cat? I know a lot of weird things are poisonous to cats, but I hadn't heard that cucumbers were one of them. So I'm going to say false.
You are correct. It is
Okay.
false, right? But the
but not
cucumbers are put behind cats, and the theory is that cats, while they're eating, they don't want anything to be behind them. Some people think maybe the cucumbers look like snakes or something like that, but I think it's that they just don't want to see anything behind them that they don't expect. And yeah, mean cat own. Have you ever put a cucumber behind your cat?
I have not. And like, who wants a cucumber to suddenly show up behind you? I mean,
right, exactly.
I would be a little freaked out myself.
I would, right? If I was eating food and then I look behind me and there's a cucumber on the floor, I'd be a little scared.
Random cucumber, sure.
Put the cucumber there. Here's the next one. Cats meow more to humans.
It's true. I've read that in so many places, and actually in my middle grade book, the cat character is like, I make the meow sound. She makes the meow sound because she's talking to humans. I literally use that fact in my book.
Okay, very good. So this will be something that comes up in Freya the Mighty.
Yes.
Coming soon. All right. What about this one? I don't know if this is cat behavior, but this is what we got anyway. Cats were consulted during the making of the movie Cats.
I think cats said, look, if you're not going to give us buttholes, we're not going to give you any feedback on your movie. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. I'm going to say false.
It is false. It's false. But right. I think we would have had a better movie if cats had actually been consulted.
Yes.
Cats are more likely to bite depressed people.
Huh. Gosh, I've never even thought of that. I think if they're likely to bite you, you'll become a depressed person.
That's probably true as well.
Maybe they try to get them out of themselves. I'm going to go out on a limb and say true.
It is true. It is true, yes. And according to McKinsey's research, it has to do with if you are depressed, you might not be making eye contact with people or with pets. And so if you're not making enough eye contact, apparently they might bite you to see what's wrong. All right. Cats need their owners to claim you as their territory.
You know, they need they need to be like, you're my mommy and I love you. So I don't know if that's the same as claiming you as their territory.
Here's what I thought, and maybe this is what you're thinking. I thought that that their paws needed you because they go back to like being kittens and being breastfed and stuff like
that. I'll say true, like as they grow up, but I've heard a lot of different that they're very comfortable with you, and particularly if they need your stomach, which my cats do all the time because they love it. It's very sweet. Let's say true. I'm not sure.
It is again according to the internet. I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't trust everything.
Yeah, the internet. We know how reliable that is, right?
We're saying according to the internet statement. Let's see. And cats always land on their feet.
I would say like 99.9% of the time cats land.
So is that true then? Or is that not?
I would say true, but you're going to be like, no, there's that 1%.
According to Mental Floss, it is not true. They don't always land on their feet. They usually do because but not always.
All fine. In
Japan, black cats are considered good luck.
I know gold cats. I'm going to say yes because I think black cats are good luck.
I like them too, and it is true. Apparently, according to the internet, black cats are considered good luck in Japan. Here's our last cat question. Nearly 2/3 of a cat's life is spent sleeping.
That is true, and they're sleeping now. So yeah,
Ninja and Boo are sleeping right now.
People say it's a dog's life. I would say, why not be a cat's life if you like to sleep?
I like to sleep, so that I would like the cat's life. All right, the next round is called Hamilton curse words. So we saw a glimpse when I pressed the wrong button. So now you said Hamilton was going to be one of the categories. So I'm assuming you're familiar with the songs from Hamilton.
Yes.
And like
I
your
hope
book,
I didn't steer myself wrong in here. So.
like your book, Cursed, there are swear words,
Yes.
and I usually don't use profanity, at least not on the internet. But you can use profanity, or like we're grown-ups here. This is not marked for children. So warning everyone, we might use profanity to answer some of these questions. So I'm going to give you some Hamilton quotes. And they're all leading up to the swear words, and I want to know if you know how to fill in the blanks.
All right.
By the way, fill in the blanks is a great thing that happens with our character Ricky, right? When she's imagining things, she has
her little fantasies,
blanks about the boys that she likes. Julio. All right, here is the first one. How does a blank orphan, son of a blank, and a Scotsman?
Oh my God, I sing this song all the time. How does a bastard orphan, son of a whore, and a Scotsman dropped in the middle of a forgotten spot in the Caribbean, impoverished and squalor, grow up to be a hero and a scholar? The $10.
Yeah.
Father without a father. All right. I love this part.
We can start there, and I have a feeling that you could do the whole musical, but we're going to skip to a different song. Let's see. This is from I'm Not Throwing Away My Shot.
Yes.
And this is a colony that runs independently. Meanwhile,
Britain keeps shitting on us endlessly.
Yes. Essentially, they tax us relentlessly.
Yes.
All right. Very good. And let's see this one. Okay. So this is from the reprise of The Story of Tonight.
Yes.
So, because if the tomcat can get married, and then they say, if Alexander can get married,
you had there's hope for our ass after all.
That's right. Just like we got a preview of that.
Disclaimer, I have listened to the soundtrack to Hamilton in excess of 100 times. So,
nice.
Yeah, like
I assume you've watched it on Disney Plus.
I have.
And have you gotten to see Hamilton live on tour?
I had tickets April of 2020. I was It's like one of the worst. That and the fact that our favorite karaoke places did not survive the pandemic. It's just tragic.
Oh no!
I mean, other than the 500,000 people that
died. That's too bad.
I know.
Well, now it's time for some F-bombs. Then maybe that's appropriate. Yes. Do you know how this continues? I'm Hercules.
And I need no introduction. When you knock me down, I get the fuck back up again.
There we go. All right. Yes, you do know this. Here's a long one. Oh, okay. This one's my favorite one. This is out of all the swear words. So it's, this immigrant isn't someone we chose. Oh, this immigrant's keeping us all on our toes. Oh, the show these Federalists just went up against.
God, I'm trying to think of the next line. I know it's from the song where they say immigrants, we get the job done, right?
No, this is Burr and Jefferson and Madison are singing angrily. So this is the song of It Must Be Nice.
It must be nice.
Washington on your side.
I don't.
If I could sing better, you would have known what.
Yeah, I don't. I don't know this one. I'm just very pissed.
Well, that is
the wrong. That is the next character.
Yeah, it's Southern mother bleeping Democratic Republicans.
Democratic Republicans. Yes.
Yeah. I like that one because it's such it's pretty obscure historical, or at least for me. It's like, wow, I like how.
Now that you say it, and another one that I like in the Right Hand Man when they're talking about, boom, watch the blood and the shit spray. That's such a you never think of that part of. I mean, you think of the blood, but it's I love the whole thing. Yeah. So I got one wrong. I'm sorry. I failed you in Manuel.
And okay, so next up, I have a banner for this. I've got some graphics for this one. So I'm assuming because you put this on your list that you watch American Ninja Warrior.
Obsessively, yes.
Okay.
I love that show.
Our game is this an American Ninja Warrior obstacle or a self-published novel?
Oh gosh. Okay.
So I'm going to give you titles, and then you need to tell me if it's one of the obstacles from American Ninja Warrior or a self-published novel. So here is your first one, Warped Wall.
That is an A&W, very classic.
All right.
A&Ws, yes, there you go. And you're showing the 18-inch warped wall that if you get up that, you get 10 or 20,000 bucks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one, The Bridge of Blades.
That is a self-published novel.
Oh, no, Bridge of Blades is real.
Yeah, bad.
It sounds like a self-published novel.
It does.
Yeah, so this is The Bridge of Blades.
Oh, got it. Yeah, they have so many different.
They don't look like blades. When I thought it was, I was expecting like actual swords.
Yeah. No, I don't think
they would. This one, Jaws of the Tiger.
That's a book, I think.
That is. There we go. Jaws of the Tiger. I don't know what's going on in this book. Looks like a tiger's going to eat a boat.
Something like that.
Next one, Glass Vault.
I think that's a book.
You are also correct. Yes. Now this one looks pretty classy. Looks like the full title is Quincy Wolf's Glass Vault.
Nice.
All right. What about this? Devil Steps.
That's Ninja Warrior. Pretty sure.
Yes. This is not an actual Ninja Warrior, but I like that photo, so I'm going to use it.
Yeah, so you're using it.
Here's the next one. Silver Shifter.
That's a book, I think.
Okay, very good. Looks like it's a wolf and a girl, and they're going on an adventure. Domino Hill.
That's Ninja Warrior.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know this one existed. Did you?
I've seen it. I don't know that I've. That's from the original Japanese. Show Suzuki, I think it's called, or yeah.
Wrangled and Tangled.
That's a book.
Yes, and to be fair, I actually don't think this one.
Hello,
I wanted to handy for our viewers, so it's like even though it's not self-published, I'm putting this one up there.
All right, fine.
There we go. That one's for all you cowboy fans out there. What about this one? Is this American Ninja Warrior or a self-published book? Monkey Peg.
That is American Ninja Warrior.
Are you sure?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes, you are. You're correct. There it is. Monkey Peg. Now, here's the cool thing about this one, and I didn't know this when I came up with the contest. Monkey Peg is the American Ninja Warrior game, but there's a self-published book that is written by Peg Monkey.
Oh, well, there you go.
Short Love Stories, Volume 6 by Peg Monkey. So it all comes full circle. All right, let's look at some questions. Good job. Got a round of applause for you.
Pretty good. I got like one wrong in each category.
That was just to make me look good. So I thank you for doing that. I know you could have. So Laura Young says, Carol, you do us proud.
Thank you, Lori.
Joseph Taylor says, do you have any favorite part of the writing process?
I do. My favorite part is having written. I was at a party early in Hollywood when I came out here, and they're like, "Oh, you're a screenwriter. What do you like to write?" And I said, "I like having written." So that's
like it when
the favorite
done.
part is when when I've done it. I'm like, whew,
Nice.
Good. I had a good session today. I also like hearing the characters in my head and writing dialogue. So I'll give a little more appropriate answer for that. I do
like those moments where you were saying that you were writing this unexpectedly, kind of as a pantser, and I do love the moments where the characters start to steer the story in ways that you didn't.
And in fact, my antagonists do that often. Like Mr. Jenkins, it's like they knock on the screen, like, "Hello, I have an idea for my character," and I've had that with a couple antagonists, which is like, yeah, I'm a little more well-rounded than you're making me, and this is where we're going.
Nice.
Okay.
So for Mr. Jenkins, was that knocking on the door moment? Was what part of the book was that? Or do you know?
It was written out of sequence. I don't remember. I wanted him to be very highfalutin and a real pain in the ass. Mm-hmm. But having grown up with a lot of highly intellectual, somewhat highfalutin, people around me, and not my family per se, but we had a lot of intellectuals around. I knew that there was a purpose for that, and that it wasn't just that they were an asshole, that they, it's their personality. And I just, I just love the relationship that develops between them. And it wasn't my intention when I first started.
Yeah, I really like it when he says, "Hey, you're gonna to do these things. You're gonna have to meet me after class." And it's nice that it's an unlikely mentorship that happens.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as promised, we're going to look at the never before seen cover. Is that correct?
The big reveal.
The big reveal. And so here, this is what I'm going to show. This is the original design that was not used.
I'll set it up. They just sort of had like a meeting, and they were throwing out ideas. And this was just an original mock-up to get kind of the feel of the cover. It was, I don't know that it was ever really considered strongly as an actual cover, but this was the first visual that I saw for the direction they were going in. Which is
all right. Here it is.
Dun, dun,
Cursed.
dun.
And it's like a middle finger.
Yes. And you can see the font. The designer of my book is a woman named Joyce White. And she was an in-house designer at Charlesbridge. Now she's doing other things, but she just killed it on my book. And I love the way my book looks. And there's even, I don't know if you got it from the library or whatever, but there's a printed case inside. If you have the dust jacket, you can take it off and see that there's a amazing printed case, but she came up with the font Husker Du from the beginning. You can see, and that has.
Now, are you referring to this when we take off this jacket? Yeah. So
yes. And if you look closely, the words, and that's all my first chapter. And that was all Joyce White.
Okay, yeah. So I'm trying to hold it close. Yeah, so we've got the words.
It's very hard to see them because they're so faint.
But I love this. And oh gosh, do you know what is the name of the? Here, I have the image here. Of the faces that are used in hospitals today.
It's the visual pain scale.
That's right. Oh, the Wong Baker faces. These ones are the Wong Baker faces. I'm
sorry, Wong Baker. I didn't give you your proper.
Well, I think there's more. I don't know.
What actually happened after we saw that first image and some ideas and stuff, my editor said, if you have any ideas, we're open, which is not something that publishers always do, especially with a first-time novelist. And I was either driving or showering, and the visual pain scale popped into my head, like, I wonder if there's a way we can incorporate that. And when I got home or when I got to my computer, I sent Monica some images from the internet. And I'm like, how about the visual pain scale? And she wasn't really aware of it, but she's like, I think we might be able to do something with that. And so that was my original concept, which is very cool.
Yeah, it becomes a very appropriate and beautiful, beautiful cover.
Yeah.
I did want to mention my daughter and I talked about this, how on the pain scale, we have like number 10 is the most painful one on there. But in a different context, look at number 4. He's gone.
Irritated.
Like that. That's so much pain that he's just lost it now.
Yes, I like that. Yes.
Let's see if I think that's all the questions that we have. So you did very well on both the author type questions and the game show questions. So you can come on anytime you want to. And I'm very excited that this has won an award, and hopefully your new book, Freya the Mighty, will win lots and lots of awards as well.
Let's hope.
And how are you? I guess my last question for you, because we've been Facebook friends for a little while now, and so you've seen I've been going kind of kooky with, in a fun way, with just the different quarantine related kind of cabin fever projects.
Yes.
How has quarantine affected your creativity, or has it?
It has. One of the things I have done, much like you, is that I have made some author videos, and they're all on my website, karolruthsilverstein.com. I am somebody who is never very comfortable on video, and I've gotten from, oh my God, do not put that camera at me at all, to, okay, I can kind of fake it and I'm not like dying inside. So that's a big improvement. I taught myself how to edit on iMovie. And so I made these author videos, and I've made other cute little short videos. And that's been just so much fun. Early on, I wrote a lot of poetry, which I'm not necessarily a poet, but there was poetry month is April. And so that was shortly into the pandemic. And I have friends that have, like my friend Greg Pincus revived his 30 Days of Poets or something in April. And so he would send out an email, and a different poet would have a new poem and a poetry style and explain what the style was like. And I was like, oh, I'll try it. So I did a bunch of the different poetry styles and just had a lot of fun with that. And also another author friend who I only know on Facebook, Jen Reese, she used to do these weekend creative challenges, and on Saturday it was a writing thing, and on Sunday it was a illustrating thing. And I never did the illustrating because I'm not an illustrator, and I just felt very like that I can't do it. And then suddenly I guess I was so bored or whatever. I was like, I want to try the illustrating thing. And then I started doing little illustrations with mixed results. But there were a few things where, like, it's usually an animal, and you could pretty much tell which animal I was going for. Yeah. And then I did Inktober out of the blue. Wow. It was really challenging, but really fun. And I have, out of the 31 drawings I did, and I did one every day, there were a few that I was like, I really like that. So, I've been creative in other ways.
That's excellent. That's excellent. And so is your debut novel, Cursed. Yeah. Here it is with the cool cover underneath. Here's the jacket once again. So if you haven't read this book, everybody, definitely go to your local bookstore if you can, if they're open, or go to indiebound.com, or go to amazon.com, or Barnes & Noble.
Or your library.
Or your library.
And there's an audiobook that came out last year during the pandemic. There was an audiobook as well. It's on Audible.
Oh, that's cool. Who did did you do the recording?
I did not. I forget the name of the actress. She's done a lot of books, and I've listened to most of it, and it's a weird experience, but I think she did a fine job. It's a strange experience hearing something that you've heard in your head for a decade, read by somebody else. So
I bet,
but it's good. I think she did a good job.
That's awesome. All right. Well, this has been Author Q&A with Wade and with Karol, and thanks for watching, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much.
Bye.